peace, and welcome. Today we're going to have a conversation about this historic movement called the Youth Environmental Collaborative. Environmental Youth Collaborative, also known as EYC. And for the sake of marking history, 24, because it's 2024 is January. And we are here together at a retreat. And we have some special guests with us. So would you guys mind going around and introducing yourselves?
Hello, my name is Wanisha Smith.
I'm Michaela Cooper.
Peace, I'm Yvonne McCaskill.
And my name is Shalina Ali. I'm representing True School, and I am your host today. What organizations you guys with?
Wanisha Smith, I'm with Reflow.
Michaela Cooper, I'm with Near by Nature, Milwaukee.
Yvonne McCaskill, I'm serving as an independent systems consultant for the retreat.
Okay. So Environmental Youth Collaborative, what is that?
Well, as a person who has seen both sides of this fairly recently, being that person who's getting my degree in environmental science and I'm looking for a job, I just happened to stumble upon Near by Nature sending out emails to UW, and I was like, I'm actually looking for a position. I want to get more involved in jobs that are in my industry, and this is the perfect opportunity to do that. And so that got me into a very unique position of actually stepping up to the table to have a conversation with the funders and do that presentation to say, hey, I'm one of those people that could have benefited if we had something like this 10 years ago. And now I'm on the flip side of going to the retreat, and I'm like, yes, there's so much work that has been done, and there's so much work to be done to make sure that we're centering our youth in environmental jobs or green and blue jobs, and making sure that they know that there's support, there's jobs here, and how we're facilitating that conversation with them to get them to come to our internships, as well as creating spaces for them to find community.
Okay. What else I want to add to that?
I will say the Environmental Youth Collaborative, EYC, is very unique. 13 organizations that all have summer environmental programming for young adults and teenagers to introduce them to spaces and places, especially our Black and brown children, that they may not ever be introduced to. So we're unique in the way that it's 13 organizations that care enough to partner together to give them experiences, lived experiences that can foster a lot of, whether it be career paths or whether it just be a space into environmentalism that they don't have access to, whether it be at home or at school. We have several communities of spaces that we know children can be in. And I feel like this is one of those spaces where that they need to be in. And it's not just for them, it's for us as well. These spaces were not around when I was younger. And I feel like I'm in a space now that I can assist getting you into these spaces for their benefits, whether they go into the environmental sector or not.
And this is Yvonne McCaskill. While I'm here as a manager and organizer to help frame this retreat and support it, I do have a background in education, so I'm connected to youth. And also, I love being in the environmental space. And so those two things that are connected, I have a passion about. And so I fully support this collaborative and the work that they are doing for all the things that the two young ladies have just said.
That's great. What do you imagine, because we're working in Milwaukee. I do believe the work could be model for other places as well. But what do you imagine potentially changes specifically to Milwaukee as a result of this work?
I feel like we've always heard that Milwaukee's so siloed. So this is also kind of breaking that stigma around being siloed. Also, we know that Milwaukee has the largest per capita amount of nonprofits in the country. So conjoining some of those nonprofits together too. I mean, we're just starting with 13. Who knows where this could go? This, like you said, it could be a model for other nonprofits in other cities, but it's also a model for Milwaukee. With having the largest per capita amount of nonprofits in the country, it's a model for Milwaukee. So we have to model for us first before we can model for anybody else. It's really unique, but it also can change how funders look at nonprofits and different organizations and philanthropists, period, how they look at funding different initiatives. We can use this to change that narrative so that we're not like crabs in a barrel.
Yeah, competing with each other. I think this opens up that space of allowing accessibility, because now that I've got introduced to one organization, if I was in the role of an intern, I have 12 other opportunities outside of just the internship I did, to where I can find my place and my role in my community and my sense of self throughout these organizations, instead of if we're all separate and it's like, okay, now that I've done a year here, where else do I go? And this allows for that quick answer of like, well, we know where you could go. We have 12 other places where you could go. And because we're here doing this work today and going forward, we can look at their resumes or look at the time that they've spent with us and be like, you really have an affinity for this. I know the exact organization because I've collaborated with them already. This is where I'm going to send you because I know you're going to benefit, to keep them going in this space, to know that they're valued and that this is a place for them to be, and that we're recognizing that and we have more space to put them rather than just one and done and then what else.
Yeah, wonderful responses. There's some research that says you can tell the health of a community by the conditions of the young people. And I think that when we look at the conditions for young people in Milwaukee, all young people aren't doing as well as they can. And by these organizations collaborating, pooling their resources on behalf of young people is phenomenal. And this trajectory that they're on, I think, not only can be a model for Milwaukee and the country, our youth will be better for it. So I want to really, really expand on that thought, that this is really about youth. Yes, it's about collaboration. It's about all the things that are needed to be able to do the work. But at the end of the day, it's about our babies.
And so that's the overall picture of the purpose, the Environmental Youth Collaborative. But we are here at the Johnson Foundation Retreat. What's the official name of it?
Wings Foundation at
Wingspread.
Wingspread. And I want you to answer this last, Yvonne. From your perspective, what is the value of being kid at this retreat?
I think we talked about this a little bit when we said, well, in our personal conversation through this collaborative, we've just talked about what that looks like for me, being in a space like this and feeling like I'm finally finding my people, even outside of my organization, to care about things like this. So, although we may not be on the walls of an organization like this or foundation like this, we're having the conversation to put us, people of color, in spaces like this to say, hey, we can't tell you need to go be in places that you may feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Or there may not be people that look like you, but you still belong there. We're having that same instance here of, yes, I can walk through 100 walls of different pictures of white men and still feel comfortable because I have my sense of self, because I have my sense of community, because I have my sense of systems, because this is where I am and this is where I feel comfortable. And I think that can kind of help the youth, because we can't tell them to do something we're not willing to do ourselves. So I think that's we're appreciative to be here because we needed this experience, and we're thankful that they helped with the opportunity. Also acknowledging what would be hindered if we weren't here.
It's work. I feel like I'm glad to be here to be able to do the work with the people that I'm working with. It's an experience that we work together in different spaces, but to work together all in one space and to learn about each other. I feel like when you have organic conversations with people, that's where collaboration comes from. I'm not saying that I need to know your ins and outs of your daily life, but just having some knowledge of your lived experiences gives you a sense of comfort and your willingness to work with someone else. And it also gives you a sense of empathy that people have. When you can empathize with someone on something that they have gone through, or that you know that they might, like they're going in a certain way, you can try to guide them in a different way. And that's what our youth need. They need a sense of empathy, that it'll be okay with some assistance. And you have people that can give you that assistance. And I feel like everybody that's in this space right now is willing to give that assistance and put in the work. It's work. And it's work that I feel like nobody in this space is looking to be rewarded for the work. Exactly. We're not looking to be rewarded. We're doing this work because we're supposed to. And it's purposeful work.
No doubt. And, like you say, to practice empathy, we do too. And it's a good chance for us to witness each other, stay true to that commitment. For 3 days, we're spending some extended time together. And it's not a lot of space for faking. There's some great accountability, some knowledge sharing, some growth. So when you say someone like me who needed that, who's to say that need was ever actually satisfied? And so there is a natural process, I believe, of healing that happens when we're able to talk about it on this personal level, and we don't set ourselves so far apart from the youth, like they're one thing and we're another.
Yeah.
We are actually representatives of the communities that we are serving. And those youth oftentimes are our nieces, our little cousins, our siblings, our children. And so it's far more personal, and it's meaningful for us to be able to develop trust amongst each other, because I'm not alone in thinking and feeling that way. That's us as a cohort. And, we have other people that may not have come from Milwaukee. They may not come from the communities or families that we are representing or serving, which means that they need to sit in this space. They need to hear, they need to understand, and they need to know how serious we are, and we need to know how serious they are, so that nobody is questioning, how hard we're about to be in this grind together, because really we're just getting started.
Right.
You have a whole different perspective. Like, what was your understanding? Like, you put a lot of work into making this retreat happen.
Quick amount of time.
Yeah, well, as I said, I believe in the mission. I believe in the vision. So it wasn't hard to convince me to come on board to do what I can do. I also have a really strong spiritual base. So, I always say I have tenure in the room. I'm not a relic, but I do believe that, the power that I serve, my God, has allowed me to still be on this earth, to use the skills and the talents that He gave me to help the community, to help our folks, and especially to help our babies. So that's what drives me mostly in the work that I do. In terms of these 2 days that we spent together, with another half day coming, I've been very impressed by the energy of the folks who are here, especially our young people. It just does my heart well. And by the way, everybody's young. Everybody's young. When I'm speaking of young people, But beyond that, in this space, I think that the Johnson Foundation they could use this space for a number of things, and they could not use it for a number of things, like allowing a group from urban Milwaukee to come down and spend 2.5 days with no charge to enjoy this space, to be able to be creative in our thinking without a lot of distractions. Any distractions that we have, we would create them. And so the hospitality is great. that helps us to release our creativity.
Yes.
We set a standard here. We set the standard on the first day of a safe place, a safe space where people felt that they could say what was in their heart and on their mind to get their needs met to help our children. And I found that to be very authentic.
Yeah.
So it has been a great experience for me. And I'm grateful and thankful to be invited to the space. My colleague and I, Penny, who's not in the room at this moment, but we're not going anywhere. We'll be here to support this effort for as much as you all need us. And I have to thank my sister friend over there, Wilnisha, because she saw some value in something that we introduced her to. And not everybody does that. So, just everything. If I had
Which was what did you introduce Wilnisha to?
Well, it was one of the tools that we use for organizing thoughts. It's a brainstorming tool. It's a brainstorming tool, but there's so much more that can come out of it. And so as we expand this tool and the use of the tool, I think that the people who are here during this experience will be pleased that there is something that they can take back that is very useful, that is right, it's available to them.
That's right. So speaking of useful, we just got a couple minutes left, and the word safe space was brought up, and it's been brought up throughout our experience here. Let's just real quick define what makes a space safe, and quite specifically, what has made this space in this time that we've spent together safe.
Well, I'll go first to get my waterworks out the way, where I've already started with these two beautiful women with me. My safe space came from sitting in these collaboratives and having these talks, but also on a personal level outside of them, getting to really know each other. And I got to know, and I get to feel that she embodies where I want to go. She has that everyone keeps talking about of like, yes, I need to hear more of what she's saying. And it warms me. And also, that's like my mom out here. Like, I need that.
Right.
But also, I got to meet Yvonne and learn that connection that she has to my own mother, going through the Baptist church and feeling that. So it's like, this is my safe space. These are women I've grown up with. That's how I got my degree. My mom started in gardening. I got my degree in conservation environmental science. I'm going to finish and get my master's in soil and water science because my mom, who went to the Baptist church and talks like Wilnisha, created that environment for me to feel safe outdoors so I can do the same thing for youth. And I get to feel that here, and that's my safe space because they look like my mom, who made me feel this is where I need to be. So that's my piece where I cried because I needed this, because that's that safe space for me to be vulnerable, the same way we're going to ask our youth to do that in these spaces of being social. This is my time to be like, yeah, it's a lot to feel, but it's rewarding because I needed this. I needed that support of I can turn to Wilnisha at any time. I can turn to, like, yes, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well put. Thank you.
I feel like this space, I feel like I want to be a safe space for people, for our youth, for my colleagues. I am a mother, so wanting to be that space for my children, but also my husband, he would foster, because of his background, a lot of children. So I have always had a house full of children where that I was their safe space. We were their safe space. So growing up, even my great-grandmother, my mother, like I've always had that. So they've been my safe space, and I feel like I need to be a safe space for other youth and for other people. So this is kind of natural to me. I did at one point push it away, didn't understand it, and now I've come back to it. So being in an environmental space is my safe space. So I want that to also be a safe space for other people and to be a healing space. So that's my kind of piece.
I'm happy you took it there because I was waiting for you to say your safe space and you being your safe space for yourself first so that you're able to be a safe space for others.
I think we should leave it there.
Hey,
Beauty, better than what has been said.
I concur. All right, you guys, thank you so much for sharing with me tonight. And we'll keep these conversations going as the work continues. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.